Have you ever noticed that some of the most remarkable places are almost never talked about? Not because they lack history, not because they lack beauty, not because they lack people with extraordinary determination, but because the world often pays attention only after greatness has already been built. Today, I want to take you to one of those places, a place that fought for its own identity, a place that refused to let its future be written by someone else, a place called Pasangkayu. Located in the northern part of West Sulawesi, Indonesia, Pasangkayu is not just another regency on the map. It is a story of courage, a story of persistence, a story that proves communities can reshape their own destiny when they stand together. Many people outside Indonesia have never heard its name. Even within Indonesia, countless people still know it only by its former name. For years, this region was known as North Mamuju. But behind that old name lies a remarkable journey that deserves to be remembered, because names carry identity, names preserve history, and names tell future generations where they truly belong. Pasangkayu is one of the youngest regencies in West Sulawesi province. Its capital is also called Pasangkayu, a growing town positioned hundreds of kilometres north of Makassar, the capital of South Sulawesi. Today, it serves as the administrative and economic centre for thousands of families who call this land home. Covering approximately 3,043 square kilometres, Pasangkayu stretches from fertile inland forests to the coastline facing the Makassar Strait. Its strategic position connects West Sulawesi with Central Sulawesi, while also bordering North Luwu Regency in South Sulawesi. This location has made Pasangkayu an important gateway between provinces for decades. Yet geography alone never defines a place, people do. And the people of Pasangkayu have spent generations proving exactly that. The story begins long before the Regency officially existed. For many years, this region formed part of the much larger Mamuju Regency. Communities spread across Pasangkayu, Sarudu, Baras, and Bambalamotu shared one common dream. They believed they could govern themselves more effectively. They believed development would come faster if decisions were made closer to home. And they believed their voices deserved to be heard. That dream slowly grew stronger. On June 18, 2001, an important meeting took place in Sarudu village. It was more than just another gathering. It became the birthplace of a movement. Community leaders, local activists, and determined citizens gathered with one purpose: to establish a new regency. Among those who played significant roles were figures such as Yaumil RM, Agus Ambojiwa, and many other members of the Formation Committee. They understood that creating a new regency would not be easy. It required political support, legal approval, administrative preparation, and above all, unwavering determination. Every great transformation begins with ordinary people deciding that the future can be different. That is exactly what happened here. Thousands of residents supported the movement. They were not asking for privilege, they were asking for opportunity. Their efforts eventually reached Indonesia's national legislature. On January 27, 2004, the House of Representatives approved the establishment of North Mamuju Regency. Shortly afterward, Law No. 7 of 2004 officially created the new regency. It was a historic milestone. Within just 1 year and 7 months after the initial movement gained momentum, the dream had become reality. The new regency began with 4 districts, 31 villages, 129 hamlets, and a population filled with hope. Imagine what that moment must have felt like. A place that had waited so long finally gained the authority to shape its own future. Every new government office, every new school, every new road, every new public service represented another step toward progress. But the journey was far from over. Sometimes building something new is only the first chapter. The next challenge is preserving the identity that inspired its creation. Years passed. Development continued. Population grew. Infrastructure expanded. New opportunities emerged. The original 4 districts eventually evolved into 12 districts through administrative expansion. Pasangkayu district later gave birth to Pedonga and Tikaraya. Sarudu expanded with Daparang and Duripoku. Baras welcomed Bulutaba and Lariang. Bambalamotu expanded through Bambaira and Sarjo. These changes reflected something important: growth. As communities expand, governments must evolve alongside them. Administrative divisions are not simply lines drawn on maps. They are tools that bring public services closer to people, closer schools, closer healthcare, closer government, closer opportunities. Yet despite all this progress, one issue remained deeply meaningful to local communities: the name. For many residents, North Mamuju described geography, but it did not fully capture their identity. The people wanted the regency to carry the name that had represented this land for generations: Pasangkayu. Local leaders worked tirelessly. Meetings were held with Indonesia's House of Representatives. Discussions continued with the Ministry of Home Affairs. Years of advocacy finally reached the highest level of government. Then history was made once again. On December 28, 2017, President Joko Widodo signed Government Regulation No. 61 of 2017. North Mamuju officially became Pasangkayu Regency. For many people, it was more than a legal change. It was emotional, it was cultural, it was historical. It was the realization of a dream first imagined years earlier by those who believed their homeland deserved to be recognized by its true name. Identity matters. When people know who they are, they build with greater confidence. When communities honor their history, they create stronger futures. Pasangkayu reminds us that development is never only about roads and buildings. It is also about belonging. Geographically, Pasangkayu occupies an incredibly diverse landscape. To the north lies Donggala Regency in central Sulawesi. To the south is central Mamuju Regency. To the east stands North Luwu Regency, and to the west stretches the vast Makassar Strait. Its location has long positioned Pasangkayu as an important transportation corridor connecting different regions of Sulawesi. Travelling from the provincial capital of Mamuju to Pasangkayu takes several hours by road. The journey crosses mountains, forests, rivers, and coastal landscapes. Every kilometre reveals another reminder of Indonesia's extraordinary natural diversity. This is a land where geography shapes everyday life, where communities adapt to changing landscapes, where resilience becomes second nature. Like many developing regions, Pasangkayu continues to face challenges: improving infrastructure, expanding educational opportunities, strengthening healthcare, creating sustainable economic growth, protecting its natural environment, supporting future generations. These are challenges shared by many regions across Indonesia, yet history has already shown something remarkable. When Pasangkayu faced obstacles before, its people chose action instead of surrender. That spirit continues today. Every classroom built, every bridge completed, every business opened, every child receiving education, every farmer improving productivity, every entrepreneur starting a new venture. These moments become part of a much larger story. Progress rarely arrives all at once. It grows through countless small victories achieved every single day. Perhaps that is the greatest lesson Pasangkayu offers the world. You do not need global headlines to build something extraordinary. You do not need international attention to change your future. Sometimes the greatest transformations happen quietly, far away from television cameras, far away from viral trends, far away from the places everyone else is watching. Communities unite, families work together, leaders serve, young people dream. History slowly changes, one decision at a time, one generation at a time, one courageous step at a time. When people look at a map, they often see only borders, but maps never show determination. Maps never show sacrifice. Maps never reveal the thousands of conversations, meetings, hopes, disappointments and victories that shaped every community. Pasangkayu is more than a location. It is living proof that identity can be preserved, that unity can overcome bureaucracy, that determination can reshape history, and that ordinary people can accomplish extraordinary things when they believe in the future they are building together. Maybe that is why stories like this deserve to be shared, because somewhere in the world, another community is fighting for recognition. Another town is working toward progress. Another generation is wondering whether their efforts truly matter. Pasangkayu answers with quiet confidence. Yes, they do. Every effort matters. Every voice matters. Every dream matters. History is not written only by the biggest cities. It is also written by places like Pasangkayu, places where courage became policy, where identity became law, where hope became reality. And perhaps the next time someone tells you that only famous places make history, remember this remarkable corner of West Sulawesi. Because some of the world's greatest stories are still waiting to be discovered. They are simply waiting for someone willing to listen. There is something profoundly inspiring about places that build themselves from the ground up, not with endless wealth, not with international recognition, but with determination that refuses to fade. That is the spirit of Pasangkayu. Every sunrise here represents another opportunity. Every generation carries the responsibility of leaving this land better than they found it. And that responsibility has shaped the identity of an entire regency. When Pasangkayu officially became its own administrative region, expectations were enormous. People hoped for better roads that could connect villages more efficiently. They hoped for schools where children could receive quality education without travelling great distances. They hoped for healthcare facilities that could serve every family regardless of where they lived. Most importantly, they hoped that local decisions would finally reflect local needs. That is one of the greatest strengths of regional autonomy. Communities understand their own challenges better than anyone else. They know which bridges need to be built first, which villages need clean water, which schools require more teachers, which roads farmers depend on every single day. Development becomes more meaningful when it begins with listening, and listening has always been one of the foundations of successful local governance. Over the years, Pasangkayu has continued to evolve. Government institutions have expanded. Public services have improved. New districts have allowed administrative responsibilities to be shared more effectively. Each new office represents more than bureaucracy. It represents accessibility. It means residents no longer have to travel as far for public services. It means documents can be processed faster. It means local governments can respond more quickly to community concerns. These improvements may seem ordinary, but for people whose lives become easier because of them, they are transformative. Progress is often measured in small moments. A student arriving safely at school because of a better road. A mother receiving medical treatment closer to home. A farmer transporting crops more efficiently. A young entrepreneur opening a new business because infrastructure has improved. These stories rarely appear in international headlines, yet they are the stories that truly define development. Pasangkayu is also blessed with extraordinary natural geography. Its western coastline faces the Makassar Strait, one of Indonesia's important maritime corridors. The sea has long provided livelihoods for coastal communities. Fishing remains an important source of income for many families. Each morning, boats head toward the horizon, carrying generations of knowledge passed from father to son, from mother to daughter. The ocean provides opportunity, but it also teaches humility. Those who depend on the sea understand patience. They understand preparation, and they understand that nature always deserves respect. Further inland, the landscape changes dramatically. Rolling hills gradually rise toward forested areas. Rivers flow through fertile valleys that support agriculture and local communities. These landscapes are more than beautiful scenery. They sustain life. They provide food. They protect biodiversity. They remind people that economic growth and environmental preservation must always move together. Indonesia is recognized as one of the world's most biologically diverse nations. Regions like Pasangkayu contribute to that incredible natural wealth. Protecting forests is not simply an environmental issue, it is an investment in future generations. Healthy forests regulate water supplies, they reduce erosion, they support wildlife, and they help stabilize the climate that agriculture depends upon. Every tree preserved today protects tomorrow. That is a lesson every developing region understands more deeply each year. Agriculture also plays an important role in Pasangkayu's economy. Palm oil plantations have become one of the region's major economic sectors, creating employment opportunities and contributing significantly to local economic activity. Alongside plantation agriculture, local farmers continue cultivating crops that sustain communities across the Regency. For countless families, farming is more than an occupation. It is a tradition. It is knowledge accumulated over generations. It is resilience expressed through hard work from sunrise until sunset. Every harvest represents months of patience, months of uncertainty, months of faith that nature will reward effort. People often admire successful harvests. Few witness the sacrifices behind them. The same can be said about every successful community. We celebrate the outcome. We rarely see the years of perseverance that made it possible. Pasangkayu's journey reminds us that success is never accidental. It is earned. One decision, one challenge, one generation after another. Education has become another cornerstone of Pasangkayu's future. Across Indonesia, education remains one of the most powerful tools for reducing poverty and creating opportunity. Every classroom has the potential to change not only one child's future, but an entire family's future. Imagine a student from a small village in Pasangkayu. Perhaps they grow up surrounded by rice fields, plantations, forests, or the sea. One day they become a teacher, a doctor, an engineer, a scientist, an entrepreneur, or perhaps they return home as a public servant, determined to improve the very community that raised them. That is the true purpose of education, not simply to create careers, but to create leaders. Leadership begins long before someone holds public office. It begins with responsibility. It begins with integrity. It begins with choosing to contribute rather than complain. Communities become stronger when more people embrace that mindset. The younger generation of Pasangkayu carries extraordinary potential. They are growing up in a world more connected than ever before. Technology allows them to learn from the world's greatest universities, to build businesses that reach international markets, to share local culture with global audiences, to preserve tradition while embracing innovation. They no longer have to choose between honoring their roots and pursuing modern opportunities. They can do both. That combination may become Pasangkayu's greatest strength, a community firmly grounded in its cultural identity while confidently moving toward the future. Because progress does not require abandoning tradition. The strongest societies preserve their heritage while continuously improving their future. Every traditional story, every local language, every cultural celebration, every community value, these are treasures that deserve protection alongside economic development. True progress is balanced. It strengthens both prosperity and identity. As Indonesia continues growing as one of Southeast Asia's largest economies, regions like Pasangkayu will play increasingly important roles. National development is never created by one city alone. It depends on thousands of communities moving forward together. Every regency contributes, every province contributes, every citizen contributes. This is how nations become stronger, not through competition between regions, but through collaboration. Pasangkayu stands as a reminder that every corner of Indonesia has a story worth telling. Some stories are written by kings, others by presidents, others by famous entrepreneurs. But many of the most inspiring stories are written by ordinary people who simply refuse to give up. Parents working long hours so their children can attend school. Teachers inspiring students despite limited resources. Farmers planting seeds despite uncertain weather. Fishermen sailing before dawn despite unpredictable seas. Civil servants committed to improving public services. Young people dreaming beyond what previous generations believed possible. These are the real architects of progress. History remembers leaders, but history is built by communities. And communities like Pasangkayu continue proving that every single day. So the next time someone asks where hope can be found, perhaps the answer is not in the world's biggest cities. Perhaps it is here, in places where resilience has become a way of life, in places where identity was never surrendered, in places where the future continues to be built with courage, one generation at a time. There is an old misconception that only massive cities shape the future of a nation, that history belongs only to capitals, that innovation belongs only to skyscrapers, that opportunity exists only where millions of people live. But Indonesia tells a very different story. Indonesia is not built by Jakarta alone. It is not built by Surabaya alone. It is not built by Makassar alone. It is built by thousands of villages, hundreds of regencies, dozens of provinces, each one carrying a piece of the nation's future. And Pasangkayu is one of those pieces. Its contribution may not always dominate national headlines, yet every day thousands of people wake before sunrise with one mission: to build a better tomorrow. This is what real nation building looks like. It is not glamorous, it is not always celebrated, but it is essential. Think about the generations who lived here long before official maps changed. They crossed rivers without modern bridges. They cultivated land without advanced machinery. They built communities through cooperation rather than convenience. Life demanded resilience. Every family understood the importance of helping one another. Neighbors were more than neighbors. They were partners in survival. That spirit remains one of Indonesia's greatest strengths. It has many names across the archipelago: gotong royong, mutual cooperation, shared responsibility. Whatever language it is spoken in, the meaning is universal. No community succeeds alone. Pasangkayu grew because people chose unity over division. That lesson is becoming increasingly valuable in today's world. We live in an era where differences often receive more attention than common goals. Social media rewards conflict. Algorithms amplify outrage. But successful communities tell another story. They remind us that progress happens when people solve problems together instead of creating new ones. Pasangkayu itself is evidence of cooperation. Its formation required dialogue, negotiation, leadership, patience, and countless individuals willing to work toward a shared objective. That is not weakness. That is one of the strongest forms of leadership. The ability to unite people around a common vision. Look at any lasting achievement in history. None of them were built by one person. Every bridge, every university, every hospital, every successful nation, every thriving community. Behind each accomplishment stand thousands of people whose names history may never record, yet without them, nothing would exist. Pasangkayu reminds us to appreciate those unseen contributors, the farmer whose harvest feeds families, the construction worker who builds roads, the nurse caring for patients late into the night, the teacher who believes in children before they believe in themselves, the fisherman who leaves home before dawn so others can eat. These people rarely become famous, but society depends on them every single day. Sometimes the strongest heroes never stand on a stage. They simply go to work again and again and again. That quiet consistency is more powerful than temporary applause. Economic growth is another chapter of Pasangkayu's continuing story. Like many developing regions in Indonesia, the Regency possesses enormous natural resources. Agriculture remains one of its economic foundations. Plantation industries contribute significantly to employment and regional income. Small businesses continue serving local communities. Markets connect producers with consumers. Transportation networks link villages with larger commercial centres. Every transaction contributes to a larger economic ecosystem. Behind every successful business is someone's dream, someone who accepted uncertainty, someone who invested time, energy, and hope. Entrepreneurship has never been easy, yet it remains one of the most powerful engines of community development. When local businesses succeed, jobs are created, families gain stability, young people discover opportunities closer to home, communities become stronger. Economic growth is not simply about statistics, it is about people. Every percentage point represents thousands of lives improving. Every new investment creates possibilities that did not exist before. That is why sustainable development matters so much. Growth should never benefit only a few. The strongest economies create opportunities for everyone willing to contribute. Pasangkayu continues moving toward that vision. Its future depends not only on government, it depends on entrepreneurs, students, farmers, teachers, healthcare workers, engineers, fishermen, public servants, parents. Every citizen has a role. That is how resilient societies are built. Responsibility is shared. The younger generation now holds the next chapter of this remarkable journey. They inherit something extraordinary, not merely roads or buildings. They inherit sacrifice. They inherit courage. They inherit dreams that previous generations worked tirelessly to make possible. Imagine being a child growing up in Pasangkayu today. You have access to knowledge unimaginable just decades ago. The internet connects you with the world's greatest libraries. You can study science from international universities, learn languages from native speakers, develop businesses reaching customers across continents, share your culture with millions of people around the globe. Opportunity has never been more accessible, yet technology alone is never enough. Character still matters. Integrity still matters. Discipline still matters. Curiosity still matters. The future will belong to those who combine knowledge with values, skills with humility, innovation with responsibility, ambition with compassion. That balance creates leaders who leave lasting legacies. Pasangkayu has already demonstrated that determination can transform history. Imagine what the next 50 years could bring. Imagine smarter cities connected by modern infrastructure. Imagine schools equipped with advanced technology. Imagine sustainable agriculture increasing productivity while protecting nature. Imagine tourism introducing more people to the breathtaking landscapes of northern West Sulawesi. Imagine young entrepreneurs building globally recognized companies while remaining deeply connected to their hometown. None of these dreams are impossible. History has already shown what determined communities can accomplish. The formation of this regency once seemed impossible. Changing its official name once seemed impossible, yet both happened. Because enough people refused to stop believing. Every great achievement begins exactly the same way. Someone dares to imagine a future that does not yet exist. Then others join. One voice becomes 10. 10 become hundreds. Hundreds become thousands. Eventually, what once seemed impossible becomes history. Pasangkayu's own existence proves that truth. Never underestimate the power of collective belief. Never underestimate communities united by purpose. Never underestimate ordinary people pursuing extraordinary goals, because history has always belonged to those courageous enough to build it. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson this remarkable regency offers the world. Your circumstances do not define your destiny. Your determination does. Your location does not limit your potential. Your vision does. Whether you live in the world's largest city or in a growing regency on the northern coast of West Sulawesi, your ability to create meaningful change remains the same. Greatness is never determined by population size. It is determined by the size of people's commitment to building something greater than themselves. That is the legacy of Pasangkayu, not simply a place on a map, but a living reminder that hope becomes reality when courage refuses to surrender.